Shalom. This is Arya Ben Yasharallah out of the Lion's Den. First and foremost, I would like to say, Ka Halayim La, Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakha Kwadash Ma'amath. A double honor to the elders and apostles, a great millstone who rule well and teach well. A double honor to my elder as well, Aharwan Ben Yasharallah, down here in the Lion's Den camp. And you see the headline for the article. It says the Big Bang didn't happen. And I'm going to get into what it talks about. It says the Big Bang hypothesis, which states the universe has been expanding since it began 14 billion years ago in a hot, dense state, is contradicted by the new James Webb Space Telescope images, writes Eric Lerner. To everyone who sees them, the James Webb Space Telescope, or JWST for short, images of the cosmos are beautifully awe-inspiring, but to most professional astronomers and cosmologists, they are also extremely surprising, not at all what was predicted by theory. In the flood of technical astronomical papers published online since July 12th, the authors, and this article came out on the 11th of August, the authors report again and again that the images show surprisingly many galaxies that are surprisingly smooth, surprisingly small, and surprisingly old. Lots of surprises and not necessarily pleasant ones. One paper's title begins with the candid exclamation, panic. Why do the JWST's images inspire panic among cosmologists, and what theories' predictions are they contradicting? The papers don't actually say. The truth that these papers don't report is that the hypothesis that the JWST's images are blatantly and repeatedly contradicting is the Big Bang's hypothesis that the universe began 14 billion years ago in an incredibly hot, dense state. It has been expanding ever since. Since that hypothesis has been defended for decades, and honestly, to people, the Big Bang theory, it really isn't a theory. They just call it the Big Bang, not adding on theory recently. Well, before this came out, because people that's what the mass people believe that the universe started as. But since the hypothesis has been defended for decades as unquestionable truth, by the vast majority of cosmological theorists, the new data is causing these theorists to panic. Right now, I find myself lying awake at 3 in the morning, or most I take any sleep from having they have a night terrors. Says Allison Kirkpatrick, an astronomer at the University of Kansas in Lawrence, and wondering if everything I've done is wrong. So they're questioning all their work for, but the scriptures say that our work will not be done in vain. It says it is not too complicated to explain why these too small, too smooth, too old, and too numerous galaxies are completely incompatible with the Big Bang hypothesis. Let's begin with too small. If the universe is expanding, a strange optical illusion must exist. Galaxies or far away or any other objects in expanding space do not continue to look smaller and smaller with increasing distance. Beyond a certain point, they start looking larger and larger. This is because their light is supposed to have left them when they were closer to us. This is in sharp contrast to ordinary non-expanding space, where objects look smaller in proportion to their distance. All right, there's going to be a lot of technical jargon, that I read over, and I'm going to skip forward these galaxies now. Okay. So, Big Bang theorists have known for years from the Hubble Space Telescope, HST, images that their assumptions necessitate the existence of these tiny, ultra-dense Mighty Mouse galaxies. These JWST has made the problem far worse. The same theorists have speculated that the tiny galaxies grow up into present-day galaxies by colliding with each other, merging to become one more spread out. An analogy to this hypothetical merger process would be to imagine a magical toy car, a centimeter long, that nonetheless weighs as much as an SUV, and grows up into a real SUV by colliding with many other toy cars. But the JWST has shot through this far out scenario as well. If you could believe the toy car story, you would at least expect some fender dents in the colliding cars. The Big Bang theorists did expect to see some badly mangled galaxies scrambled by many collisions or mergers. So they thought that they were going to see disorder in the heavens. They thought that there's no order to things. All right. What the JWST actually showed was overwhelmingly smooth disk and neat spiral forms, just as we see in today's galaxies. The data in the article Panic, the data in the Panic article showed that smooth spiral galaxies were about 10 times as numerous as what theory had predicted, and that this would challenge our ideas about mergers being a very common process. In plain language, the data utterly destroys the merger theory. All right, so all these images that they're getting back from the James Webb Space Telescope or the JWST is contradicting their hypothesis or their theory about the Big Bang, about everything just happening randomly. All right, now that they're looking into the heavens, they're seeing that things are in order. And with that, I'm gonna bring out a scripture. Hold on one second. All right, this is Isaiah chapter 55 and verse 8. It says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, neither," said Salakia. I'm going to restart. Isaiah chapter 55 verse 8. "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." Khan. So when you want to think of the magnitude of the cognitive thinking of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, you only need to look to the heavens and also look at yourself and look at everything around you and see how in order everything is. All right, and just know that I'm about to get another scripture. So this is Jeremiah chapter 10. I'm gonna start at verse 11. It says, "Thus shall ye say unto them, the powers that have not made the heavens by the earth, even they shall perish from the earth and from under these heavens. He hath made the earth by his power, he hath established the world by his wisdom, and hath stretched out the heavens by his discretion. When he uttereth his voice, there is a multitude of waters in the heavens, and he causeth vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He maketh lightnings with rain, and bringeth forth the wind out of his treasures." Khan. All right, so that's the type of power that created the heavens and the earth. And they thought that if they these heathens, all right, these Edomites, all right, they thought that if they looked far out into the heavens enough that they could disprove Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, not knowing that we're but a mere speck in his grand creation of this entire cosmos. All right, and then also all that is being made for us, or all that is being made for us to reside in. I'm gonna go ahead and get that scripture. This is John chapter 14. I'm gonna start at verse 11. "Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father in me." This is Yahushua speaking. "Or else believe me for the very work's sake. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, he that believeth on Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, the works that I do, shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. And whatsoever ye shall ask in my name, that will I do, and the Father," Salakia. This is the wrong scripture. Salakia. It's John chapter 14 verse 2. So I'm going to start verse 1. This is John chapter 14 verse 1. "Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in Yahweh, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you." All right, and all those smooth and small and fully formed galaxies that they saw looking out there, those are all for us to inhabit. So we can't. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua put us in a very hopeful and faithful situation, Salakia. All right, to endure all of this pain and suffering, and we're not dealing with it in vain. Our people say that they have free will, and people don't believe that their destiny is sealed, but yet they have no hope and faith in anything. All right, and for them saying that that they don't have a destiny, they don't have a fate, that's them saying that all their work and all their pain and all their suffering that they go through is literally for no reason at all. It's no reason at all. All right, but the scriptures say our work is not in vain. All right, all of our work, we store up our riches in heaven. I'm gonna keep on reading with this article. It says, with few or no mergers, there is no way tiny galaxies could grow to be 100 times bigger. Therefore, they were not tiny to begin with, and thus the optical illusion predicted from the expanding universe hypothesis does not exist. But no illusion means no expansion. The illusion is an unavoidable prediction from expansion. Thus, the panic among Big Bang supporters. Tiny and smooth galaxies means no expansion, and thus no Big Bang. Too old and too many galaxies mean the same thing. The JWST uses many different filters to take its images in the infrared part of the spectrum. Thus, it can see the colors of distant galaxies. This in turn allows astronomers to estimate the age of the stars and these galaxies This in turn allows the astronomers to estimate the age of the stars and these galaxies because young, hot stars are blue in color, and older, cooler stars like our sun are yellow or red in color. According to Big Bang Theory, so I can take a drink of water real quick. According to the Big Bang Theory, the most distant galaxies in the JWST images are seen as they were only 400 to 500 million years after the origin of the universe. Yet already some of the galaxies have shown stellar populations that are over 1 billion years old. Since nothing could have originated before the Big Bang, the existence of these galaxies demonstrates that the Big Bang did not occur. Just as there must be no galaxies older than the Big Bang if the Big Bang hypothesis were valid, so there's expected that as the JWST looked out further in space and back in time, there would be fewer and fewer galaxies and eventually none, a dark age in the cosmos. But a paper to be published in Nature demonstrates that galaxies as massive as the Milky Way are common even a few 100 million years after the hypothesized bang. The authors state that the new images show that there are at least 100,000 times as many galaxies as theorists predicted at redshifts more than 10. And redshifts was another thing that they had talked about, and that's going into something else. But it's kind of just a whole bunch of scientific jargon. There is no way that so many large galaxies could be generated in so little time. So again, no Big Bang. While Big Bang theorists were shocked and panicked by these new results, Ricardo and I and a few others were not. In fact, a week before the JWST images were released, we published online a paper that detailed accurately what the images would show. We could do this with confidence because more and more data of all kinds has been contradicting the Big Bang hypothesis for years. The widely publicized crisis in cosmology has drawn general attention to the failed predictions of the Big Bang hypothesis for the Hubble constant relating redshift to distance. But our papers published over the past decades have pointed to far more contradictions than each individually acknowledged by other research. All right. And a lot of this is jargon as well. And all right. It says readers may be well wondering at this point why they have not read of this collapse of the Big Bang hypothesis in major media outlets by now, and why the authors of so many recent papers have not pointed to the collapse themselves. The answer lies with what I term the Emperor's New Clothes effect. If anyone questions the Big Bang, they are labeled stupid and unfit for their jobs. Unfortunately, funding for cosmology comes from a very few government sources controlled by a handful of committees that are dominated by Big Bang theorists. These theorists have spent their lives building the Big Bang Theory. Those who openly question the theory simply don't get funded. All right, so they literally are fighting against the truth. All right, that's them literally fighting the truth. That's all what that is. And the mystery of iniquity already works, so we see who the enemy is. All right, these so-called Caucasians, Esau, are that rule the government right now. All right. Until the past few years, the researchers could self-fund cosmology research. Oh, this is a lot of jargon as well. I'm gonna read past it. Just these scientific questions. Microwave. All right. And that was the end. That was the end of it, pretty much. The rest of it was kind of a lot of jargon. Yeah. So that's pretty much that article. If I can, I'm gonna try to put a link to it in my in the description of my video. But I'm gonna bring out some more scriptures. This is Job chapter 26, verse 6. Slakia verse 7. It says, He stretcheth out the north over the empty place and hangeth the earth upon nothing. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing that the earth and that Yahweh in His wisdom and His magnitude did that. All right, created time specifically for us because He's outside of time. It's such a beautiful thing. I'm gonna get my next scripture. All right, this is Psalms chapter 104. I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, Bless the Lord, O my soul, O my power. So like I'm going to restart Psalms of chapter 104 and verse 1. Bless the Lord, Yahweh, O my soul, O Lord, my power. Thou art very great, and thou art clothed with honor and majesty, who covereth thyself with light as with a garment, who stretcheth out the heavens like a curtain, who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind, who maketh his angel spirits and ministers a flaming fire, who laid the foundations of the earth, that it should not be removed forever. Khan. And a lot of these scientists love to think about, oh, could the world end like this? Could the world end like that? But when you talk about the actual earth itself, the Aratazah, all right, that's never going to be destroyed. It's never going to be destroyed. It's going to be here forever. In verse 3, it says, Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind, Khan, who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters. I mean, that's such a beautiful a beautiful description of the Shemayim. All right, the way they show it in media is probably not even close to what it actually is out there, but only just using imagination. The fact that astronauts train in water before they go out into supposed outer space. It's only the front porch. It's like the very last layer of the atmosphere. But when they go out there, like that's where they train, is in water. So, and the fact that water in Hebrew is mayam, and the heavens, like clouds above us, it is called it's called Shemayim. All right, it's such a beautiful thing. I'm gonna go to my next scripture. All right, let me get Genesis, because the only the largest opposition when it comes to the creation of the universe and of everything that we see around us, people love to say the Big Bang. People love to say that randomness or chaos brought all this order, when really the order of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua and His wisdom, He brought forth all of this order. His order brought order. chaos will never bring order. You can bring order out of chaos, like Esau likes to do, because they like doing that shit. All right, but what Yahweh's creating is something that's gonna live forever, past like and defeat like and spread throughout all the Shemayim, all those smooth and too old and too wrinkled two tiny galaxies that they see out there. All right. This is Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. It says, "In the beginning Yahweh created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of Yahweh moved upon the face of the waters. And Yahweh said, Let there be light, and there was light. And Yahweh saw the light, that it was good, and Yahweh divided the light from the darkness. And Yahweh called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. And Yahweh said, Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And Yahweh made the firmament and divided the waters, and were under the firmament from the waters, and were above the firmament, and it was so." We can see the beauty of that right now. Verse 8, "And Yahweh called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And Yahweh said, Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear there, and it was so. And Yahweh called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And Yahweh saw that it was good. And Yahweh said, Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth, and it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And Yahweh saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day. And Yahweh said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. Let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and it was so." All right, and I'm gonna stop right there. I just wanted to really touch the point that Esau is is really showing who he is, and Yahweh is showing who he is. So, pretty lesson was edifying. Shalom.